This is something I wish that I had right at the beginning, probably 7 years ago now that I actually started my Shopify store. It was a huge jumble mess in my head. Like, what do I do first? What do I do next? What do I do after that? And I was bouncing all around. Do this order. It's going to take you a few months just to get to a point where you can start advertising. But trust me, that is the best way to do it. This is something that I wish I had when I started my own Shopify store. So in 2019, I started my own Shopify store, sold on it for 5 years. It was great. I loved it. But then, I really got into email marketing for other businesses. And so, fell in love with that. And I closed down my Shopify store this year, actually. But this is something I wish I really, really had when starting out because, you don't know what order of things to do. You don't know what to do first and what next and what after that. And there are 3 points in this document which are really, really important to get. So there's one right here at the beginning, and then right here down at the end, there's two more really, really important points. So, this is why the order is so important because of these points as well. So first of all, obviously decide on your product. The main thing to do, right, when you decide on your product is make sure that you can add on products as well, because a one store product is just going to die over time, right? And that ties into the very last point, which I'll get to later. But if you've only got a one product store, it becomes a pure acquisition game. And acquisition is very expensive. If you break even on acquisition nowadays, customer acquisition, then you're doing really good, right? But if you only got one product and you're constantly trying to acquire new customers, it just becomes impossible to become profitable. So choose a product that has complementary products. Think about, I don't know, tennis. It's got all a bunch of different products, one type of sport, whatever it is. A one product store is just not going to make it. The next thing to do is to ensure that people are actually searching for your product. Okay. Now, this comes with a little bit of a caveat. If you've got something completely new and you think it's going to work, then you need to test in forums. You need to test with friends and family. You need to gauge the search traffic on other similar products. But if it's completely new, then you need to gauge it in another way. But if it's not completely new, just make sure people are searching for it and it's not too niche. You want at least a few thousand searches for various keywords every single month. If it's like 10 searches a month for, a few keywords, you're just not going to make sales. So check that people actually want your product. Big problem there. And I see that happening again. Well, not again. I only see it a few times where people choose these hyper niche products that, only a few people in the world actually want. All right, great. Maybe you're interested in it, but you're just not going to make money with it. And then last one here, just make sure you like your product. I mean, here's the crazy thing. What if you become successful, but you don't like your product? You don't care about it. Try talking about that product, researching that product, making marketing material on that product. Years down the line, when you don't actually like it, it becomes a drag. So make sure you like your product. Then after that, decide on a name. So I don't know, a lot of people out there just say, oh, the name doesn't matter. The name doesn't matter. Okay. Maybe it doesn't matter if you do an amazing job, but it does make it a bit easier. And having a really nice name that stands out and people can easily remember is quite important. Nowadays with ChatGPT, it's super easy to get a name. Before you had to like think and get different words and put them together and think about it, whatever. ChatGPT is great for this. So really use ChatGPT, but I think a good name is really important. And then you go and see if your name is available in the domain, .com, .co.uk, whatever it is. Nowadays people are using different, domains with .shop or .ai, whatever. That's okay. Before, years ago, it used to be important to have the .com, but it's less important now. And then make sure that you can get that exact same name on all your socials as well. Because when people type in your name into Google and you've got all the socials, you've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, you've got TikTok, you got, whatever it is, Instagram, when they put in that name into Google, then all of those results will come up perfectly. If you have to then put, I don't know, the name with 247 or the name with 365, it doesn't work out. Right? So make sure you've got the exact same name across your URL, your domain, and all of your socials as well. Really, really important that. It's just super important for branded traffic. Then, of course, just go and purchase your domain. Yep, go into GoDaddy or whatever and purchase it, set up the socials, set them all up, do it quickly. Sometimes, you might leave it a few months and then boom, someone takes the name. So do that straight away. Then create your Shopify account. Easy enough. Just go in and create the Shopify account. So these are in order, right? You don't make your Shopify account first and then decide on the name and then take months, because then you end up paying. Then you create your Shopify account and then find your product sources. Okay. So you're ready. You've got your name, you like your product, and it's time to start sourcing. So, you go to AliExpress, Alibaba. You can go on other drop shipping sites. You can look for local manufacturers if that's what you're into. This really depends what style of fulfillment you're going to do. If you're going to do drop shipping, you probably want to do Alibaba, AliExpress or something. There are a bunch of others. I'm not going to list them all here. But if you're trying to manufacture your product, Alibaba is the way, or maybe a local manufacturer. That I'm not going to get into great detail, but just find a good source. And actually something I didn't put in here, get one product sent to you. So, or not one, get a few products sent to you. So from various different suppliers, just get them, test the quality, see what they're like. After that, make sure that when you source it, that I mean, really, I'd want to stick with like 70% minimum. I think 50% is probably too low. I'm not sure why I wrote that. You want gross margins between 90 and 70 and 90%. Right, where's the percent sign? Right. If it goes down to 50, okay, you might be able to then get reductions in cost when you buy more and more products from the supplier. You may be able to start out at 50, but really you want to get to at least 70. And that's because so much of your money is going to go into marketing, it's going to go into staff, it's going to go into paying for software. So that's why the gross margin is super, super important to get right from the beginning. Because if you've got a low margin, you've got no money to advertise and run your business. And then another thing that I'm going to put in here, which I forgot, make sure your AOV is at least $50. I mean, I think even that is a low end. This is one of the reasons why I had to close down my own Shopify store. I did this wrong. Our AOV was $25, right? I mean, we were making lots of sales. It was going great, but we did not have the money, the actual cash money to advertise, to, pay our staff, to pay for all the software. We were making 100, 200 orders a day, but with, a margin of a $25 AOV, and then, minusing all the costs, we just had no money left over. It was one of the biggest issues we had. So at least 50. Really, you want to get up to, 100 if you can. I mean, it's a sad truth, but it's just the name of the game. Selling cheap products online in the beginning is super hard. If you get to be massive, okay, you can add in a few cheap products, but really you want to try and aim for this range in the beginning. And then here I just said it may be hard in the beginning because there are a lot of cheap sites out there. However, your branding, if you get really good branding, then you can charge higher prices. So don't get disheartened if you see Temu, if you see Shein, if you see AliExpress with all their cheap stuff. If you do a really good job with the product and maybe make it a little bit different and get the highest quality one, you can still sell to those people who are looking for a better version. And then, if I say there's no cheap sellers like Temu, and there's good search volume, then you're really onto a good winner there. So then you just go into your branding, all right? Decide your colors, your font, your imagery, your style, your copyright and type. Create your logo, go to Fiverr, get a cheap one, right? You can always change that later on, but that's the next step to do. And then after that, create your Shopify store. So learn how to build a Shopify site, with the drag and drop editor, get used to it. Look at other sites as well. So that's the most important thing. Don't try and reinvent it. Don't try and imagine, oh, I think this should be good here, that should be good there. Really just look how other people are doing it and try and copy it in your own way a little bit. So just get really good at using Shopify and using the drag and drop editor. It's so easy nowadays with all the themes and all the elements. You can make a really nice store with just the drag and drop editor. So then you just start listing your products, put in all the details and all the SKUs, all the costs and descriptions and all that stuff. That's next. And then make sure you get the important stuff like the footer, the header, the menu. Don't forget that. I've seen a lot of Shopify stores, smaller guys, obviously, they don't even have a footer, right? And these are the sort of trust signals that you absolutely need when you're setting up a Shopify store. If you got to have that footer with all the links like about us, the FAQ, the shipping policy, the terms of service, and then have your social links in there as well. People don't set up a footer, and it's just crazy. And then a menu as well, make it nice. And then if you can use existing product reviews from your supplier, that can be okay. Otherwise, you're just going to have to start generating some product reviews in there as well. So reviews are another huge one. Get reviews somehow, get them somehow. It's a mega, mega important point for any Shopify business to have, trust so that people can trust you. All right. And then here I just repeat myself, just copy some other site, don't try and reinvent it. Just look, all right, they've got a hero, they've got, collection buttons here, they've got another like mini hero, whatever it is, just copy someone else. And then learn conversion rate optimization, right? So you've kind of built out your products, right? And you built out your store, but then you want to make sure that it's set up for, conversion. I'm not going to go into a big list here because it's too in depth, but basically you can find checklists out there. There's a lot of checklists, just type in e-commerce conversion rate optimization checklist. And there's loads of checklists out there you can get for free. Just use that to make sure you've got all the right touch points. Then after that, this is where my expertise comes in. Then you set up your email marketing automations. Okay. This is hugely important, right? And I'm not just saying this because I do email marketing. I would never, ever drive traffic to a site that doesn't have email marketing set up. The reason for that is that email marketing will bring all the people back. So those first time visitors who come on and don't buy and go, which is like 98% of them, those first time visitors who come on and go away, you got to start collecting their emails with a really good sign up form and then hopefully converting them with the welcome series. And then if they add to cart, okay, you've got their email, so you can send it, an add to cart flow to them. Maybe they go away, they come back, you can send browse abandon to them, you can send site abandon to them. All of these bring people back to your store to convert them later at a fraction of the cost of ads, right? So never ever start advertising without these automations set up and your sign up form. It will reduce your cost of customer acquisition immensely, right? And even if your site is not perfectly set up for conversion, these emails will bring people back again and again for pennies, absolute pennies. You're not spending, loads of money on retargeting ads. Okay, set up retargeting ad at some point, but it's going to cost way more than the emails. And this is the number one issue that I see when people set up their Shopify site. They set it up, great, it's done, and then they start advertising, and people just come and go. They come and go, and they come and go, and they just bang their heads. I think it's the ad. Oh, I got to set up this ad better. The ad's going to convert better. No, it's none of that. You got to get people back to your site for pennies to convert them. And then obviously you've got to get your thank you flow, your bounce back flow, repeat order flow, and win back flow for all those people who have had made a purchase to bring them back for pennies, so you don't have to rely on advertising again to sell them something else. And then again, you would need a few more products in order to sell them something else at this stage. And then, when you've got a few hundred people on your list, you can start sending campaigns. Not going to go into huge detail about that, but at a small list, maybe 2 campaigns per week. When you get over to like 1,000, 2,000 people, 3 campaigns per week. When you're getting up to like 10,000 or something like that, really start doing like 4 campaigns a week. That's how you'll stay top of mind in their eyes, right? And if you've got more and more products coming onto the site, then you just drive them to that product, drive them to that product. And again, it's for pennies. It's not for flipping tens of dollars per sale on advertising. When you've got a bigger and bigger range of products, you just keep telling people who are on your list, hey, there's this, hey, there's that, there's that. And it is 10 times cheaper than paying for ads to get them to buy again. So hugely, hugely important. Email marketing is the daddy of getting people to buy again and again on your site. Once you've, you got your email marketing automation set up, do look into SEO. I think it's really important to get it right from the start. I'm no SEO expert, but I know that you're supposed to pick a few keywords. I know you're supposed to optimize your site and, your product pages around these keywords. Look for questions that people have about these keywords to make blogs. Optimize your collection pages based around these keywords as well. You can make multiple collection pages for the same product, even though that all those collections are not actually findable on your site. It's just a separate collection page that can appear on Google. So that's just another trick that I've heard about, and I used to do with my site. Set up the meta tags and descriptions. Use image alt tags as well. There are apps for this nowadays. It's plenty of ways to do it. And then get an SEO app as well. There's one I can recommend actually. It's called there it is, Hike SEO. It's really, really good. It takes you through every single step that you need to do. It's like, I don't know, $50 a month, something like that. Really, really great for people who need like actionable steps, the next step to get SEO right. Now, getting SEO right from the beginning is also super, super important, because that's going to bring down your cost of customer acquisition. SEO again is mega, mega cheap. It just takes a lot of work to set up. So basically bring down those acquisition costs. And if you wait a year, 2 years, and then set up your SEO, and you've already been, drowning because there's so many costs, it's just something that if you set up in the beginning, it becomes cheaper much quicker. So really get it set up now. All right. Now, after you've done all that, after you set up your site and your products and everything and email and SEO, then you can start advertising. All right. Then, okay. Not right at the beginning, not when your site is half built, not before email marketing, not before SEO is set up a little bit. I'm not saying like, constantly optimize and make blogs. It's just get the basics set up. After all the basics are set up, then you can start advertising. All right. So do not do it before, because you will just burn through cash. All right. And the easiest way, if your products are searchable and people are searching on Google, set up a PMAX campaign. It's super easy to set up. Google walks you through it, and you should see some traction immediately from that. But then Google Ads, it gets super complicated. There's all sorts you can do. Then hopefully at this point, you might be able to hire some help if you start generating some sales. And then again, if your product is relatively unknown or not searched that much, or it's something a little bit trendy or whatever, you might want to start with meta ads instead of Google Ads. But if people are searching on Google, start with Google PMAX. The main reason for that is that it's CPC, cost per click. So when somebody clicks on your ad, then you pay. All right. So you've got them to your site. You've already got them to your site. And, when you pay, you've got them to your site. With Meta, you're just paying for the impressions, right? Just for people seeing your ad, you're paying for it. And that is real, real tricky in the beginning, especially because you've got to get good at Meta ads and, learn how to properly drive traffic. With PMAX and Google Ads, you're only paying for the people who land on your site. So it's a much better way of managing costs. And hopefully your site and your email is set up properly to then convert those people who land on your site. So anyway, obviously, at one point you should do Meta anyway, depending on your margins. I would definitely set up retargeting, and then maybe, I'm not a huge Meta expert. I haven't done it for years. Broad ones will work at some point, and then also past lapsed customers. That's another one I would definitely recommend. But again, I'm no expert on that. And then after that, start adding more products, more and more and more and more products, right? It is key. I mean, I'm not talking like, 20 a month or something. If you can, whatever, do that. But, at least one or two extra products per month. The thing is, in order to get profitable with e-commerce, you've got to use your list, right? You've got to use the people who have already purchased from you or expressed interest in your business. Using your email list to then tell them about the new products is how you're going to keep them interested and keep costs way down. If you got a list of like 50,000 people and you add a new product, and imagine 20,000 of those people have already bought from you, then you add a new product, they're like, oh, I like this store. I remember I got that product from them before. It's really good. Yeah, let me check it out. And how much did it cost to send that email? Nothing, basically nothing to send the email. It's so much cheaper. So then you just start keeping people engaged with content in your emails and new products and promotions and value and information, whatever. Keep top of mind like that with your emails, and you can expand. And then also another reason why you should add more products is more entry points. So, if you've got your PMAX set up and, it should just automatically start funneling the new products into the PMAX, or however the Google ads are set up, they should just automatically start appearing. And if someone's searching for product A, but imagine they're searching for product B, but you've only got product A, but then you add product B, and those people are searching for product B, boom, they find you. And then you add product C, product D, product E, all that. All the people who are searching for, CBD, whatever, wrong order. But, when you've got more products, you've got more entry points for people to find your store as well. So it's not only good for your list, but it's better for customer acquisition, broadening the range of people who are looking for different types of products. And then, yeah, that's what I just said again. I'm just going to reiterate. This is where you start sending emails to your past purchasers and start earning much better profit, as you now have your own list of fans who want your stuff. Okay. That's e-commerce. It's not about making profit on every single sale. It's not about making profit, from the get-go. Mainly, if you can acquire customers at break even and grow your list, it's about making money on your list, on the people who have already expressed interest, already purchased from you. That's where the profit is. That is where the profit is. And that is one thing that most e-commerce stores get wrong, why most e-commerce stores do not grow, because they're constantly trying to figure out how to be profitable right from the beginning, right from the first product or the first click or whatever it is. It's about growing your list of fans, and selling them extra stuff. I really hope this was useful. As I said, this is something I wish that I had, right at the beginning. It's probably 7 years ago now that I actually started my Shopify store. And it was a huge jumble mess in my head. Like, what do I do first? What do I do next? What do I do after that? And I was bouncing all around. I think I started here, right in the early days, and I hadn't done so many of these other things. Do this order. It's going to take you time. It takes time to get to this. It's going to take you a few months just to get to a point where you can start advertising. But trust me, that is the best way to do it. So yeah, hope it's useful. I'll share this document in the description below. And, if you want to learn more about email, just click on that button there. It'll take you to, my free group. And, I'm in there, and I'll be chatting to you. So yeah, hope this helped. See you in the next one.